is, and we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we are bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. And guess who we're bringing balance to the world with today? None other than Serena Brown-Travis. How are you, Serena?
Listen, I am so grateful to be here, to see your smiling face. I forgot how much fun you are. You have such a great energy about you. So I'm already excited to be here with you today and super grateful.
Well, I'm grateful to be here with you, and people don't know you have a funny side to you. We're going to talk about that, y'all. This woman is actually known as what's called the pulpit chick. So y'all are in for a tremendous treat today to hear from Serena Brown-Travis. I really, when I was researching how to kind of make this all merge together, I feel like it's where motivation is meeting ministry, and that's what it. That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, look at you! Look at you!
I really believe that when it comes to who you are in a nutshell, it's like you're this woman that is infusing motivation and the legacy that you're going to continue to carry out. Your dad is alive. Les Brown, everybody, is her father. Just Dr. Les Brown is her dad. But you're still walking in your own destiny and your own purpose, and you're doing that in a very creative way. So I am excited about you being here today. Serena Brown-Travis is a best-selling author. She's an entrepreneur. She encourages speakers. She's a business coach. And she's like us, women that are tuning in today, men that are tuning in a lot of different ways. She has a family. She's a wife, a mother. She's a proud Ohio native. So all of you Ohio natives out there. And she is the daughter of the legendary, still alive, kicking it strong, 80 years old, right? He's 80 now, right?
He is 80, a proud 82. Can't tell him nothing.
Can't tell him nothing. A proud 80-year-old legendary motivational speaker, Dr. Les Brown. And you're going to learn a lot more today from Serena herself. So I'm not going to give you all of the details, but she's a part of what's known as the first family of motivation. And who that consists of, I'll make sure she gets a chance to talk to you about it. Welcome, Serena, to the Kim Jacobs Show.
Thank you so much again. You know, first of all, as you were doing all those accolades, I'm like, who's she talking about? So I must say, to God be the glory for the great things God continues to do.
That's right. Yes, and he is doing some tremendous things through you. And like I said, when I think about you, I think about legacy and motion. You're moving forward, but you still have your own story, your own journey, your own purpose and passion, and things that make you who you are today. So I wanted to just start our conversation. You know how you can go in so many different directions? I thought it would be good to maybe just start about you being a part of this first family of motivation and what it's even been like growing up with the attachment that Dr. Les Brown is your father.
Right. So first off, it is very interesting. It was very normal to me for, dad to be dad. He's dad.
Right.
That's all. It became interesting that every time we would go out, people would stop us. And so that was interesting. And then, if I can be honest, also aggravating. Like, Dad, why can't we just go to the movies and sit down and mind our business?
Right.
And so now one of the things that I appreciate that he always did and still continues to do is that he talks and he entertains everyone. And he always said, baby, you never know how I can encourage. You never know what this means to someone else when, they happen to interact with me. So that changed my view. Of course, as a kid, not understanding all of that, I would, be honest to say that it was an inconvenience. But now as an adult, and, when you have people who say, hey, you know what, I met your dad at the movie theater. I met your dad as I was walking through the airport. He took the time to talk to me. Those are the stories that at least make it worth it. So that as children, at least we haven't heard your dad was a complete jerk,
Whoa, you got some people that would say that about some
Yeah,
daddies, right?
yeah. And so it can happen. And so being a part of the First Family of Motivation, as you can imagine, we have an unorthodox family. So there's no need for me to play pretend. We have an unorthodox family, like a lot of other families, non-traditional. My father has 9 kids, and he says that, hey, when God told him to be fruitful and multiply, he took the Lord seriously. He did. And so therefore, I am the 8th of 9 children. I am the youngest girl. And now everyone treats me like I'm the oldest. So if something goes down, everyone calls me Rena. But nonetheless, we decided as siblings to call ourselves the First Family of Motivation because, as you said, people have called us for advice. We just give advice, and people are like, wait a minute, what's our fee? And it's like, no fee. We're just trying to help you out. And then as a result of that, as you know, just finding your own little small gifts and talents in areas that you least expect. It's like, you know what, guys, we should do this. My sister, Ona Brown, has been a coach, a speech coach, a message midwife for years. She has traveled nationally, internationally. So she keeps us all the way together in terms of our messaging and our branding. She's a dynamic force. My younger brother, John Leslie Brown, which you'll see him right over to the left. Yeah, well, your left, my right.
Right. Red glasses on.
Right. There we go. Make it simple.
Yes.
He also is a dynamic coach and father. And so he's done great work as well. And so for a while, it was very easy as Les Brown's children to just stand behind him, to just support him, support my siblings, it was okay to be in the background. Right. And after a while, people like you, the Reverend Dr. Kim Jacobs, and other people said, hey, this behind the scenes stuff is not working.
Right.
It's not working for you. It's not working for your personality. So as my father would say, I also had to leap and grow my wings on the way down because I figured out the Lord was not allowing me to stay behind the scenes. And I realized that God has been pushing me and nudging me. And then people like you, the message, the balance doctor is like, yeah, no, glad to meet you. And this is what you're going to do next.
Right. And, I'm really glad you said that because a lot of times people think that there's so much competition. Whenever I started traveling with your dad back when I was like 24 years old, I'm 54 now. So it's been 30 years since he became a mentor of mine. And literally we got in the car at a pharmaceutical event where he came to speak. And he just took me under his wings and allowed me to start traveling the country with him. But then when I met you all, I was like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. I met Ona first. I said, you have these incredible children that are like more doing behind the scenes stuff. Oh no. I felt like at that point, it was my goal to help pull you all out too. Not like I was like became your mama or anything like that. I just felt like, I was like, you know what? You are such a dynamic speaker and motivator around the world, but this legacy of children that's going to carry the baton, that's going to carry on well beyond your years here on this earth has to happen. And so I'm just really grateful that each of you from your various walks of life came and bloomed and blossomed. If you've ever heard of the saying that flowers don't compete with other flowers, they just let all of the flowers bloom.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about your family. I love you all so much.
Oh, well, thank you. And yes, no competition. We come from a competitive family. So make no mistake.
Y'all competitive. You know that.
Make no mistake about it. We come from a competitive family. But as it relates to each of us individually stepping into our gifts and talents, there's no reason and no way to even think about competing with something that God has given you or something that God has given Ona or John Leslie or Patrick or Calvin for that matter. It does not make sense. And so we like to all operate in our own gift and we support one another as we're doing so. And our Father, who still can poke us every now and again, even to challenge us, he also allows us to step into and work in our gift as well.
I'm so glad about that. And so when I think about you, Serena, you wear so many different hats. What is the greatest lesson that you say you learned from your dad and even your siblings, and even being a wife and a mother? What's the greatest lesson that you've learned in your opinion so far?
Oh, Lord, there's so much. I guess the one thing that comes to mind immediately is, as my father would say, when things go wrong, don't go with them. I have had to learn over over the course of the past few years to get muscle, to get my muscle resilience. I was used to being behind the scenes, as I said. And so as you start to step out in the front, you then face opposition and things that are going to come against you. In the spiritual world, we'll call it the attack. And then outside of that, we just call it crazy. People trying you, people are testing you. And so I have had to learn that when things go wrong, don't go with them. I ordinarily am the type of person that when something goes wrong, you can find me in the bed, covered up, not getting out the bed, even with Les Brown being my father. And so people are like, oh my goodness, well, you've been around all the quotes and he's your dad and you should be super motivated. Yeah. And if something goes wrong, I typically will find myself in the bed. I don't want opposition. And yeah. So as a result of that, I have really had to learn how to develop that muscle of being resilient, not allowing anything to take me off course. And that has been a difficult lesson. It doesn't even sound all deep and profound, but the truth of the matter is that has been it, to learn and to operate in a space of being resilient.
That's so good, Serena. And, I would almost say we're like twins in this regard, because sometimes when it's really stressful things happening, I don't know if it's a gift from God or not. I personally think it's a gift that I will just get into bed, or even if it's not in the bed, I could be sitting in my chair and just be like, oh.
Yeah.
People are like, I know this is way too much chaos happening for you to be getting a good night's rest right now.
Well, and if we go into our core beliefs, when you think of Jesus being asleep and there's a whole storm, and Jesus is like, look, peace, I'm asleep.
Peace be still.
Peace be still.
It'll be okay.
So it might be a gift, but here's the challenge with that. We still wake up and there's still things that we have to face. So
put my red glasses on for that one sideways.
Right. So we can say peace be still all we want, but after a while we still got to get up and face, kind of like the whole Jonah situation, wake up and face what we're supposed to tackle. So
that's so funny, because that's so true. Sometimes we got to get up and take faith and step out into the water and know that it's God, Jesus bidding us to come, because it's like, I know the season that you're in, and I knew you were going to be in the midst of this storm, but if you just keep your eyes focused on me, I'll get you where you need to go.
Absolutely.
And actually, speaking of that, for you, from a spiritual perspective, you've become a minister, and you created this platform of faith where your spiritual journey has also kind of collided with your professional journey. How has that worked, especially with the pulpit chick? You got to talk about the pulpit chick.
Well, I love it. Well, first of all, if I can be completely honest, I felt the nudge for the call and I said no. And I was trying to negotiate my way out of it, tithe my way out of it, do good works. I'm like, I'm going to work in the kitchen. I'm going to sweep the parking lot. Just, Lord, no, not me. And the resistance of the call became, I just could not deny it. And so therefore I had to say yes. Now I'll be honest, for those who are feeling the pull, when I said yes, as people will tell you, the target on your back grows so much bigger. And so people told me that, but it did not really hit and resonate until you start walking through the storms of life. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, God, I did everything you told me to do. You knew I didn't want to do this anyhow. Told you that's why I'm
conversation, God.
all of that. So in fact, the name Pulpit Chick happened as a result of me doing a rant. I was talking to a close girlfriend. I said, look, I left the church for a reason. I don't want to do this. I am not a pulpit chick. And then lo and behold, I said, Lord, I guess I'm a pulpit chick and a pulpit chick. So who she is I've had to do seminary. I've gone through all those courses. I'm currently working on a doctoral degree right now, in social justice. But what I also realize is that ministry is not necessarily church. It's not necessarily pulpit only. And so the place where I feel God calling me is to almost be a disruptor to the church and to the pulpit, to say, hey, listen, we've got to get our message out in a different way that can relate. And so that is, as you said, as you perfectly coined, message and motivation all together. We can talk about Jesus all day. And if we don't talk about Christ and how it relates to our lives, even the harder stuff, even though some of those Old Testament stories that we have to dive into and figure out, what was going on between David and Saul and David and Sam, all of those things. And so the message and motivation for me is to take some of our scripture and put it in a place that is relatable. And that's hard to do because, as you know, we have so many other messages and voices and so much more, so many other distractions going on, not to mention this climate that we're living in that's divisive, and we forgot how to love each other as neighbors. And so my prayer is that whatever the Lord is putting, whatever path God is putting me on, it will be both motivation and a message and all of the above to put us back in alignment with what God will have us do at this moment.
I'm glad you're taking that approach. That I think I just kind of helped you coin something, message and motivation, ministry and motivation merging together. Because even your funny side, because there's a whole funny side to Serena, everybody, that is comical, that I didn't even know you even had that talent until I started following you more. I'm like, you got some comedy in you.
Everyone says that. I guess I'll accept it. I'll accept it.
Were you not intending to do that? Was that not the point?
I was never trying to be funny until other people said, you know what, that is so interesting. That's hilarious. And I'm like, no, but I'm serious. And they're like, yeah, that's funny that you don't even see that that's funny. And then it makes it funnier. So
that's funny that you don't think it's funny, but it's happening and everybody else is benefit. So you don't do it's not a comedy tour thing. I have lots of ideas for you. I could become I don't want to say a manager or anything, but just a sister in Christ, right?
Well, now let me turn the tables on you real quick. That's the beauty of you, Kim Jacobs, is that when we met you, you are full of ideas. And so that's why I love what you do. I love your show. I love the people that you bring on here because you're like, hey, I'm going to showcase you. But the truth of the matter is, so we're going to need to turn the tables and start interviewing you because you always see possibilities for people where where other people may see problems. You're like, oh no, absolutely not. Here's how we solve that immediately. So let me just applaud you for just being a great coach, a great mentor, a great woman of God to see things in the supernatural that other folks like me would not see. But yeah, I'll let you come back to interviewing me, but I had to insert that because again, you have been dynamic throughout all the times that I've known you, and certainly have even been an asset to my father as well.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so back to our time together here. So as a business coach, an entrepreneur, what's the biggest advice? Because a lot of people go through life and they're doing so many different things. They're wearing a lot of hats like you do. You're a mother, you're a wife, you are in ministry as a leader in ministry. You're under a legendary father. You're first family of motivation. So that's this whole other expectation. You have a lot of hats that you wear. What advice would you give to someone that's trying to find their purpose in starting a new business venture and stepping out on faith?
Right. So the one piece of advice I would start with is not to get overwhelmed by everything that you're feeling. You, as you all know, you cannot eat an elephant all at once. It is one bite at a time. And so that's the first piece of advice. Now, the second piece of advice is while I have a lot going on, I had to learn to compartmentalize of what was tugging at me first. So by nature, I'm Les Brown's child. By nature, I know that there's a legacy that I have to uphold. But then on top of that, thankfully, my mother also said, you are your own person. So I had to develop who I was as an individual. I don't walk in a room and have on my forehead, I'm Les Brown's daughter, because there might be someone who says, so what? Who cares? What does that mean for the situation? So the other piece of advice I would give is develop yourself, develop who you are, develop your own message, develop your voice. And so you may say, well, how do I develop my message? Well, what do people talk to you about? What do people come to you to get advice on? What are the things that keep you up at night? And one of the ways that I decided that I felt a nudge is I became, as you mentioned, I'm a wife and a mother. And being a mother, as you know, you're super busy. You have school, you're dropping off at practice, you're picking up from practice, you're working on homework. And I realized I wasn't taking the time to tell my children how much they meant to me.
Mm.
I was not, I mean, oh, but you wake up, you pray, baby, have a good day, hurry
Right,
up, take
right.
a
Basic.
bath. Yeah, yeah. And so as a result of that, I unintentionally
Mhm.
became an author of a book called In Case I Forget to Tell You. And the reason why is that one day my daughter was getting out of the car, and I'm
These are
watching
your
her walk.
daughter.
These are my two daughters, my girls. And I was watching her walk away, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, did I remember to tell her I loved her?
Hmm.
That's it. I mean, here we are. We're working on sight words in the car. How was your day?
Right,
Hurry up and eat your food. Drink your water. All of that. And
right.
so I developed a book in terms of learning your gifts and talents. It just literally came in a everyday situation, dropping my daughter off at practice, watching her walk away, and
Mm.
me saying, "Did I?" In case I forget to tell you, baby. And I wrote down my window, hey, in case I forgot to tell you, I love you. And I'm thinking, I can't do that anymore. We cannot show affection and love on each other in passing. And so, in
Yes.
terms of being Les Brown's daughters, in terms of upholding the legacy, as
Mm.
you know, positive words is something that is deeply steeped. It is a value within our family. And
Yeah.
so, as a result of that, that is how I started coming into my own, realizing what was around me, what's at my fingertips. As we know, we go to scripture. What can you grab on immediately without? I mean, a lot of times we have things right at our fingertips that we don't even have to leave the house for.
That's
It's already in us. So God has already placed it in us. And so realizing that, not trying to do anything outside of what already comes
good. Mm.
natural is
That's
what
good.
what I've literally tried to train myself to do.
I'm so inspired. You see what I'm saying? You have this in your blood. It's not a joke. And I know what I said when I was in my 20s. And now here at 54 years old, I'm still saying the same thing about you. There is something so unique and special about each and every one of you that make up the First Family of Motivation that the world would miss out significantly if each of you don't tap into your individual gifts. What you just shared is not loving our family members just in passing. Somebody type that in the comments section. Don't just turn to the back of your child and I hope everything. Wait, did we forget this? Did we forget that? You're saying no, be intentional.
Be intentional.
Be
Be
intentional
intentional.
and take
Yeah.
that time to carve out the space to love on your family.
Mhm.
I'm that is to me just if nothing else happened in this interview today, Serena, that's going to change so many people's lives from a balance perspective.
Well, I pray, and let me also share. It's uncomfortable, but share some transparency. Is that one of the stories that my father shares is that he is adopted. So as he became a parent, there were certain things, there were certain patterns, certain generational things that he was used to that did not work in terms of being a father. And so we as his children had to say, hey, listen, and every now and again, it is okay when you find your voice as a child to say, hey, dad, you're out motivating the masses. And then when we're together, you're on your phone or you're asleep, or we have other people that we have to entertain. And so we had to learn that as a family, how to be intentional about spending time together, loving on each other. As we know, as parents, you want to say, well, listen, if I don't make this phone call, I'm not making money. If I don't kill, I don't eat. All of those things that we all would say as entrepreneurs, that didn't matter to us when we were kids. We just wanted to spend time with our father, joke, laugh, giggle, whatever that looked like. And so the
Right.
intentionality behind it, and here's the thing, Kim, I was picking up the exact same pattern. So
Okay.
I had to be transparent about, oh, wait a minute. My
Mhm.
father did that way. Oh, I'm doing the same thing. Now I could argue, well, if I didn't, we didn't practice spelling words and do all this stuff on the road, then you wouldn't be where you are now. Those
Right.
things didn't matter to my children. What mattered is mommy was present. Mommy is intentional about edifying them and uplifting them. And so that is one of the beautiful things that as the Brown family, we've overcome. We've had to have tough conversations about how to muscle through the
That's
tough places of life,
that's
and to be intentional about loving each other, supporting one another, developing each other, or pouring into each other. And by the grace of God, we have made it, and We have put aside many of our generational traumas and bad behaviors that have allowed us to stick together thus far.
Wow. That is, a lot of people aren't willing to be transparent like that. And I love that you took the moment to do that, because there are things that we all can learn from our parents, and some of the mistakes that they've made. I get emotional because thinking about some of the things that my dad did growing up, that I saw the mistakes he made. But then fast forward, I was there to hold his hand on his deathbed when he took his last breath. And only God could orchestrate something like that.
Only God.
Whenever there's no human way possible for that to have happened, right?
Yeah.
Not based on all of the abandonment and things that had happened throughout our lives. So for you to pull the veil back and say, I learned from some of the errors that my dad made too, so that I don't do some of those same things. It's like you're breaking almost like generational curses, you know?
Yeah. So I am, and I actually have written a book on generational curses. I'm editing it again and just making sure, because it's so difficult to expose your family in such a vulnerable way.
Right.
And as you know, we are told we don't share family business. You know, you keep whatever happens in this house stays in this house. But we've also realized that people love to hear the warm and fuzzy. But as I said, my father is adopted. He had to learn. Again, I'm one of 9 children. I did not grow up in a household with all 9 of us. So you can kind of sort of do the math. Prior to my father being a motivational speaker, he was good at motivating folks in other areas. Amen. So with that being said, we had, as I mentioned, a non-traditional family that we had to learn and grow together.
Right.
We have different mothers and different households. And then when we come together, we're bringing all of those individual beliefs and family systems and so on and so forth. And we had some difficult days, but to God be the glory, tough conversations, being intentional. Again, my father has done amazing work. And on top of that, I applaud him for doing the better work of learning how to become a different person and a different parent as he has aged.
And that's taken you and your siblings to have those transparent family conversations to say, we don't like this. And we want to see change in this area. And him being willing to say, oh, okay, let me make the course in the adjustment to course correct the situation. I think that is just such a beautiful, that alone can be one of your, okay, I'll just tell you backstage. That right there could be the first family of motivation guide to families that have dealt with adoption, dealt with celebrity status, parent. Anyway, I got a lot of. I'll call you. I'll call you and tell you. I have lots of ideas, right?
Right. Appreciate you.
But when you're talking also about some of the books that you've written, because you've written quite a few books, and I want to share the page on some of them. But let's just talk through. What is it, the messages that you want people to walk away with all of these books that you've written?
So I appreciate that. The books are children. So I've written a few, as you made mention of, but more importantly, I wrote children's books based off of not the happy-go-lucky stuff, but based off of a child that may be disenfranchised, may be marginalized, to see themselves in a book, in a place that you go, you know what? This kid seemed to have had a tough life. I have a tough life. This kid seems to have had someone inspire them to go to a new level in life. And I can be intentional about finding a teacher, finding a coach, finding someone to pour into me to help make my life and take my life to a better place. So again, when we grew up, we had, Mama Bear at work, Daddy Bear at work, and Grandma in the kitchen, making a sweet potato pie. That's not the stories of our young people these days. And so my goal is to have it, and that's what I've done. And I pray that they are a blessing to people. But I have books that help and teach children how to overcome odds in a fun way, in a unique way, in a way that makes them laugh, and they can see themselves in the book and go, wait a minute, if I have one character named Penny, if Penny has overcome this.
Okay, let's go in order for a second.
Sure.
Your most popular one is In Case I Forgot to Tell You. This is like best-selling. Everybody's loving this, right?
That is correct.
perspective. In case I forgot to tell you, tell us the message in that book. And they're so reasonably priced, everybody.
It is. And again, the reason why, in case I forget to tell you, as I may mention, it is that we learn to love and or reset the relationships that we have with our children and young people in our lives, to edify them, to let them know how special they are, to let them know, hey, life got busy for me, but in case I forget to tell you, you are special. You are amazing. You make me smile every time I see you. And so what I found for that book is that book has really helped to forge and heal some relationships, because I've had grown folks say, hey, my mom just put this in the mail for me for my birthday. And mom was never good at complimenting me, but I felt like mom said a lot in this book. I felt like mom said a lot to me by sending me this book. So even if mom never knows how to open her mouth and give a compliment, I'm good. Mom sent me, dad sent me, in case I forget to tell you, and that helped to fill in some gaps that I was having. And so when I have those kind of heartwarming stories, that makes it all the better.
You better believe it. And these are books that I think people can have. I have a book that it's a book about a baby, and the mom is caring for the baby growing up, but then it's about I love you. It's just a book that they give you in the hospital when you have a baby. And then at the end of the day, the whole book goes until the child is carrying the mother at her elderly age. It's such a memorable book. That's what these books remind me of. In case I forget to tell you, every church, every pastor, every youth department, every author, motivational speaker should be giving these books out. In case I forget to tell you, Perfect Penny. Tell us about Perfect Penny.
So Perfect Penny was born in a dumpster. First of all, we know penny, that's the lowest denomination of money. And so Penny is just hopelessly optimistic. I mean, nothing can hold Penny back. And so I'm not sure if also you have on there, this one is It's Not Over Until I Win. I'm not sure if it's on. Oh, perfect. Yeah. So this is also one of my signature that I'm very grateful. As we know, my father is famous for saying it's not over until I win. So he has an adult speech and a whole adult series around it. But I decided, and by divine intervention, to have a kid series of It's Not Over Until I Win. So Penny is short. Everything is working against Penny. She keeps losing. How about that? She keeps losing. And the only thing Penny says to everyone who's laughing at her and teasing her is not over until I win. And so when I look at, and as you know, we look at children who are living in challenged areas. The book was written for them. That even though if you feel like you're not winning in life, even though you've maybe received a bad grade, maybe you're on a basketball team that just can't win not one game, to not be defeated, to not take the spirit of, I just can't do it anymore, to find a spot to say it's still not over. It's not over until I win. And that again is the goal, that we have books that encourage people, that encourage young people, that everything in life is not going to always be a happy ending. However, we still have to find that place in life that you understand it's not over until you win.
And it's not over until everything God has purposed you to do. And so if there was one thing that you want to leave people with today, what would that one thing be? Even some advice that you would even give to your younger self that maybe right now it's like, oh, I wish I had taken my own advice back in the day. Anything?
Yeah. So, one of the things, again, my father's known to say a lot, but what I think resonates with me more, nothing even super profound. My father, the legendary motivational speaker, the Reverend Dr. Les Brown, says it's possible. And with that, to leave with your audience that no matter what it is you're trying to do, it can look like you will not succeed. It's possible. Every odd can be stacked against you. It's possible. And so when I think of messages today, I think of how do we overcome some of the odds that we're experiencing? Right. I don't care what it looks like. There's some area, there's some type of way that you can say in your mind, you know what, it looks pretty grim, but it's possible. And so whatever it is that you're trying to do, individually, business-wise, collectively, as a family, get over heartbreak, get over trauma. It's going to take some work, but it's possible.
It's so possible. So possible. I only have this picture of you and your mom, but I'm definitely going to put it up.
Oh, yes. I love my mom. That's my homie right there.
I was like, I'm not going to only put a picture up of you and your dad whenever I know that your mom has played a key role in being who you are today. Any comment about your mom? Your mom?
Listen, my mom was and still is. She's still here with us, thank God. Extremely wise. As I made mention, my mom said, know who you are. So yes, it might be a big deal that you're Les Brown's daughter, but my goal, my job as your mother is to develop you. And so you have your own identity. And so for that, I am very grateful. She taught me very early on, have good credit. In my mind, I'm thinking, well, my dad got money. It ain't your money. You keep good credit. Keep your own money. Listen, my mom played no games. And so as I made mention, I grew up, everything was unorthodox. So she was a single mother. Certainly my father was there. He provided all of that good stuff, but she raised me to be an independent woman that still has value for my husband and my children and so on and so forth. But again, the best part she could have done for me is to teach me who I am individually without walking in and saying, Les Brown is my dad. Yep, that's my husband.
That's those brownie points. I'm like, if I don't put his picture up by himself, he'll be like, I don't know what kind of hoe she is, but you sure didn't get no brownie points today because you didn't say nothing about me.
Right. Yep. So that is my husband. We have been together for 21 years. So we've had tons of ups and tons of downs. And again, as you're trying to make it through life and make it through navigating what it's like to date in your 20s, and then now you're 40 and life is, hitting you at different levels, you can figure it out. It's possible to figure it out and become new people together.
I'm so proud of you, Serena Brown-Travis, and tell everybody how they can stay connected with you, please.
Listen, I am on Facebook, so the Pulpit Chick, as has been mentioned here, that's probably the best way to stay in touch with me. You can also go to my website, serenabrowntravis.com. And let me just say to you, Kim Jacobs, you have an amazing testimony. Everything about you has always been on the up and up. We have never had a challenge. You've always been incredibly honest. And the most important thing I love about you is that you're always pouring into other people. So let me applaud you, and to show the biggest appreciation I just have for who you are, who you have been to our family, and who you've been to my father, even behind the scenes. When it didn't even pay, you were still and have been always solid. And for that, I want to thank you.
Can you also tell people to sew into the Kim Jacobs Show?
Listen. If you sow, let me just say that you're sowing on good soil. Judge a tree by the fruit it bears. Sister Kim has just always been great, or she's just always been gracious. And so make sure you see the link below, PayPal me / Kim Jacobs Inc. or whichever, Vimeo, whatever. Just make sure it is going into good soil. I know for sure, without even talking to you, you've done some great work around around the Heart Association, Healthy Heart. And again, you've just done so much amazing work, period. But I just love the way you have, again, here I am saying you've sown into me. So you sow into other people. And again, without question, if there is anything you can do as you're listening and hopefully enjoying this show and all the others, is sowing into Kim Jacobs. The seed will fall on good soil.
And the reason we're talking all quick like this, everybody, is because she has a big college tour with her daughter, and we are excited about her children preparing for their future. And as a parent, we have to balance our lives and making sure we're there to make them be able to have a great outcome in some of the decisions that they're making. Even though they're young adults now, we want to make sure that we're alongside them on the journey. So you all stay connected with Serena Brown, but Serena Travis Brown, because we got to keep it right. It's
Serena Brown-Travis. Yep.
Oh, wait. It's not Serena. It's Serena.
It's okay. It's serenabrowntravis.com. So Serena Brown-Travis. It's all good.
Names of Serena Brown, because her website is beautiful, y'all. Serena Brown-Travis.com. We want to make sure y'all have the right way to stay connected with her. She has an adult book as well, Positive Vibes Only. Positive Vibes Only, and positive words, not vibes. Positive
I
words.
like that. You may listen now. We may be changing the title, child. That's all right with me.
Here I go again, right?
We're gonna have a consulting session after this. I mean,
we have so many ideas for you, Serena. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and you are destined for greatness. Like a city sitting on a hill, people are going to want to know more about Christ just because you're the pulpit chick, and they can look and say, "What God does she serve?" That's the God I want to serve. SerenaBrown-Travis.com, everybody. SerenaBrown-Travis.com. Thank you all so much for tuning into today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Go help your daughter be great. And everybody, we will see you again Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show. I love each and every one of you. Love you, Les. Love you, First Family. Thank you for tuning in to today. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you and make it a great day.